All right, joined now by Andy Sanders, caddy for Russell Henley, four-shot winner in Mexico last week. Congrats.
Thanks a lot, man. It was a great week.
Yeah, I bet it was. What are some general thoughts on the week? And then when did you start up with Russell? I was trying to figure that all out.
I started with Russell in Detroit.
Okay.
Was working for Lonto Griffin, and he had some back issues and required surgery. So I was just kind of a free agent. And speaking of agents, I know a couple agents, so I just texted him and just said, hey, I'm a free agent. If anything comes along. So his agent reached out to me a couple days later and said, hey, would you like to come work for Russell? And I said, absolutely. Known him for ever since his rookie year. So we've known each other and been friendly, and it was a pretty seamless match.
Yeah, I've got some questions about that because followed him his entire career, so I think that's really interesting. He talked candidly afterwards about choking away some tournaments in the past. I guess, how did you help him navigate that over the weekend?
Yeah, I could tell that he was definitely battling some stuff while we were out there in contention. And we just did a really good job of coming up with a game plan before we teed off and just making sure we stuck to it.
Hmm.
And I think that, in a way kind of just gives you some confidence under the heat of the moment when you're in the battle, to just, fall back on the game plan and know, like, okay, we talked about this. This is what we're going to do. We're,
Hmm.
aiming down the left side on 12, and we're going to hammer it, and, whatever. And that's, you kind of can fall back on that process when you're in the heat of the battle.
Right, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
for him, I mean, when you look at his stats, I haven't been out with him much over the years, but you look at his stats and people that are in the fantasy betting community, I mean, they just love them some Russell Henley. Like, how amazing is the ball striking week in and week out?
I'll tell you, man, it's incredibly impressive. It really is. He's kind of a machine a little bit, so to speak. I actually just learned last week, catching a little bit of the telecast, that he was an all-state, basketball player, and you can just kind of tell, like, by the way he plays, that he's an athlete.
Hmm.
And so the way he strikes the ball is the same kind of way.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of like thought that goes into it. It's just kind of a reactionary thing. When I first started working for him, he was hitting draws, and we decided just like a tournament ago that right in the middle of the tournament at Congaree that he was going to start hitting fades. And he didn't do anything physically to do it. He just was like, all right, well, I'll just aim down the left side and hit fades now. And he just did it just like
Really,
that. I mean,
really.
it's just, yeah, for a guy to like just change the way, he would play a golf course, because normally guys see a golf course right to left, or if they're a drawer, and it's hard to kind of make that transition, but he made it very, very easy.
So
So it's
last
pretty
week,
cool.
after 1 week under his belt, you're seeing just left to rights out of him all week in Mexico.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Didn't hardly hit any draws. Yeah,
Huh.
it's basically, especially with the driver. There was the one hole with the cave, was right to left, and so in order to have a chance to maybe possibly go for it, we just decided to hit a straight one.
Hmm.
Not a draw, to just hit a straight one, so it didn't really fight the wind much, and he he did it perfectly every day. I mean,
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
That's a cool nugget there. So, well, you're Andy. I always give you props. You're still one of the best putters I've ever caddied for. You read them well. Russell early on in his career was a great putter. I remember that. And then, he still got it in him. The stats haven't borne that out as much in recent years. Obviously, he putted good last week. I guess, how have you been trying to help him on the green since you hopped on the bag?
Yeah, when I first got on, he did struggle a little bit. We played Detroit and Wyndham, and he played tee to green just flawlessly. And if he had, probably just zero strokes gained putting those weeks, he would have, contended for both titles. Because he gave back, you know, like one and a half or so a day kind of thing. Like he just flushed it every day. And then, kind of through the playoffs and stuff, it was still kind of a little bit of a struggle. And we kind of had lots of conversations about what he should do going forward, trying to improve it. Because the one thing that he is great at is he's willing to do anything in order to get better, which is awesome. So he puts in a ton of work. And so playing Congaree, the greens were stimping at like 15. I mean, they were just absolutely lightning. And he was just kind of struggling with his speed and stuff like that. And I think we just had a conversation afterward, and I was just like, well, how about we just like slow everything down a little bit and try and just use, because he's such a good feel player anyway. I was like, let's use more of your feels on the greens too, because you've got such great feels. Let's just, let's translate it to that too. So we just kind of just slowed everything down a little bit, slowed his pace down, slowed the way he kind of moved about on the greens, all that stuff, just kind of just slowed everything down a little bit. And it changed a lot of stuff. He was worried about going to Cancun where the greens are only stemping at like 10. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it to the hole. And it was just like, I just kind of had it in my mind. I'm like, he's been out there so long. He was obviously made plenty of putts under pressure that he was just going to react to it and figure it out, so to speak. So
that's great. Yeah. Well, you talked about that with the ball striking, and then obviously he's an athlete, and then I could see you helping him slow down out there because that's kind of your natural pace out there too. So it's a good fit. You're not slow, but you like to kind of cruise. You do a good job of it. So another thing he's really good at is playing guitar. I was just cruising through Twitter the other night. I saw a clip of him playing with OAR. He's a family man. You're a family man. I mean, how much fun are you having looping for him right now?
Yeah, I'm having a really good time. We, like I said, it's been a very seamless transition, and he's been a blast to work for on the course. He lets me, do what I need to do, and he, appreciates, I think, all the stuff that I give back to him. And yeah, it's been really exciting. Obviously, you never can expect to win, but the way he'd been playing, I felt like something was going to come. Especially once we kind of got like the putting thing going a little bit, it was starting to gain some momentum. And, last week is a great golf course for him, with mangroves on each side of every hole and crosswinds and all that stuff. And I mean, when he was committed to his targets, I mean, it was just easy. It looked easy. I know it wasn't easy, of course. God, I know how hard this game is, right. But he just made it look really easy. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Two more, we'll get you out of here. First, though, just there's some nice perks with this into the Century Tournament of Champions and then into the Masters as well. I guess just your thoughts on kind of looking forward to next year, after this year's over.
Yeah, I mean, Kapalua is probably my favorite tournament in the world. I know the golf course probably isn't amazing and all this stuff, but like if you're in Kapalua, you're doing something right. Mm-hmm. So it's an amazing way to start a season, to start a new year. I love going out there. I love Hawaii. He's had success at Sony too, so I'm sure we'll play there. So I'm really looking forward to going out there. And and I haven't been in the Masters in a couple years now too, so I missed that for sure. But yeah, it's exciting being able to kind of get back into those big tournaments, especially with the way this new season is working out. It's a good time to be in those tournaments right now.
For sure, yeah. And then he's got some points in his back pocket to kind of make a push for the Ryder Cup team too. I mean,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is a long ways out, and you never know what's going to happen as the year goes on. But being able to kind of notch something early on to help build up to a big season is nice to do it early like that. Yeah.
All right, you're returning to Houston this week. I know that's where you went to college. You lived there a little bit. That's your spot. What's it feel like to be coming off a win back into your own backyard? I see you got your Astros hat on. Early thoughts on, getting back in the mix again this week and just coming home with a trophy?
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun. Like you said, Houston has a warm place in my heart. It's where a lot of stuff started for me in golf. Last weekend, it's hard to have a better weekend than I had. The Astros win the World Series, and then we win a golf tournament the next day. So it's like, kind of good. It's probably going to be a little bit of a letdown this week, but obviously contending would be fun again. But it's great to be around some familiar faces. We'll go have some dinners this week and celebrate a little bit. Today's my 44th birthday too, so that'll be fun. A little celebration tonight as well. So yeah, it's going to be fun to celebrate for a little bit, but then, once Thursday starts and the competitive juices start flowing, it'll make me want to get back into the mix.
Really awesome. Quickly. Hey, thanks for spending some time with us on your birthday, Andy. Happy birthday.
Yeah, no worries, buddy.
All right.
It's always
Congrats
nice to
again. All the
always
best,
nice to
man.
spend time with you, bud. Nice
Yeah.
to see you, man.
Cheers.